Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML, A Year Much Good Learning. Today we're going to another emotional journey and we are on book 135. And I'll let Chris tell you about why it is emotional.
Yeah, this is another tough one. Back-to-back days, a lot of feels, So
Emotion, invoke, from the deepest experience that we have.
for sure.
And sometimes that's hard to do.
It is, but that's the power of writing, right? Like that's why you do it. That's why you get it out there, share your thoughts with the world, share your thoughts with yourself, process through how you're feeling and how you're thinking, and share those thoughts with the world, right? I mean, that's all that we have a lot of times as humans, right?
That's one of the beauty of being a human is to be able to share, right? Share in the joy, you can share in the burden. I mean, because
Right.
you share in the joy, it multiplies. When you share in the burden, it reduces is that burden from you don't have to carry everything by yourself. And so
Exactly.
like, sharing it's one of those things that I think it's underutilized.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's so important. I mean, it's don't do it alone, right? It's one of my core values and it's the reason why we're doing this, right? Also at the same time, it's the reason why we're sharing these conversations. If somebody else can get value out of our words and our conversations, great. That's what we're here for. Today's reflection is about a book called, man, why is this at the top? How do you move this thing? Today's reflection is about a book called When Breath Becomes Air by the author Paul Kalanithi. The reflection title is
Share the screen.
Yeah.
I see the Confluence screens, but not the book.
So this book it's called When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi, and the reflection title is Focus on Your Values. So this book is a tough book. That's a really tough book. I don't know when this is the right time for you to read a book like this ever in your life.
I don't know as much until I hear your reflection, but based on what I'm seeing here, focus on your values, I think that's it's one of those saying where what's the best time to plant a trees? It's 20 years ago. What's the second best time? It's now. And based on the reflection title, focus on your values.
I couldn't agree more. I mean,
second best time is it? Because the thing is, based on what I know from being a member of a company and focusing on your core values, and your value is what you should be doing from the get-go, from the beginning. And if you don't, you basically losing the time that you have on earth to do the things that is meaningful to you. And just like I told you about the book While We Sleep, right? Well, it's not like you can catch up your sleep.
Right.
You can catch it up. So you cannot go back and
that's true. That's a good point. You can't relive your values if you don't do it.
You can't backdate your values or your sleep that you did not get, right? You just have to say, well, this is as much as I can get. This is most optimal. But just something with anyone, it's when you're investing, right? What's the best time to invest?
I guess
20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
And right now it's the best time.
Well, you're kind of ruining the reflection here. So
I think because you and I have been doing this for so long, like sometimes
you know where this is going.
We have the same mindset.
Right. No, for sure. You're spot on with where my mindset was going. But I'll at least let me guide you through how I got to that idea with this book, right? This book is a memoir by the author. At the age of 36, Paul had spent a decade training as a neurosurgeon. So I think he was, I think it was like some hospital in Stanford, either Stanford or some hospital in San Francisco where he was in his residency, I guess.
Brain doctor.
He's a brain doctor. Guy's a brilliant guy, right? Like a brain doctor, saw these, cases, helped with all kinds of, and stuff that I can never even imagine, right? So one day he was a doctor treating dying people with brain cancers, with other issues. And the next, he was the patient struggling to live. At the age of 36, he got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And just like that, as the title says, his whole entire future just kind of evaporated before his eyes, right? So this is When Breath Becomes Air, chronicles his life, really. It goes from his early stages as to how he became a doctor, and then really the main focus of this book is him kind of processing dying and going through those last couple of years of his life and how he felt and how his life evolved. He always wanted to be a writer, so he used his time to furiously scribble down his thoughts. And no matter how sick he was or how bad he felt, he always kept trying to keep up a pretty rigid pace. And then eventually he went back to work after cancer didn't go into remission, but there was maybe some hope, but then it came back. He slowly lost his battle and passed away with a young daughter at the age of 1. Him and his wife decided to try to have a kid while he was still here, and she was born. It's just a really sad story. And the way that he wrote it, it was an awesome exploration into the value of and purpose of one's life and what he discovered when he was going through this, right? So it's a really hard book to read. Honestly, I don't know if you're curious or you want to learn more. I mean, I would highly recommend it. You're definitely going to cry. It's hard. It's a tough book, right? I think of it a lot of like similar to my book, that I wrote in terms of, except for this would be if like Amelia wrote the book, right? Not the person observing what was going on with Amelia, right? So kicking off this reflection, I started off with, taking us back to book one, right? When the world wants something, the whole universe combines to make it happen, right? And The Alchemist and listening to the omens, right? I don't know why, but the universe was telling me to read this book. I saw this book. I don't know. Algorithms are smart, right? I can't remember exactly when I first came across this book, but I think it was when I was becoming a little bit more curious about pain and trauma stories. That didn't really start to happen until about 4 or 5 months after Amelia had passed away. And I read A Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, which was about the death of her husband. And then I read Option B, which was about Sheryl Sandberg and the death of her husband and their lives. And I think that was probably where this book came up. And I think I searched one day, like what are the, best books on pain and trauma, and this one kept coming up. So it prompted me I was curious. I was at least open to exploring these ideas after Amelia had passed away finally. And it's always been really tough for me to read about this kind of stuff just because it takes me right back to our life together. That's why it's really hard for me to read my own book, because it's not easy. For whatever reason, I saved it to my anti-library. It had to have been like 2 years ago. I would see it. I'm like, I'll do it another time. I'd see it again. And I'm like, I just can't. I'm not ready for this. Finally, one day I got up the courage and I downloaded this book. I don't remember exactly when, but I got up the courage to download this book. You know me and my reading habits. I'm churning through 10 books a month, right? So the average book I'm going through in probably 3 to 5 days, right? I started this book and it took me almost a month to finish it. I was listening to it as an audiobook. I just finished whatever book I was reading that day, and it was a Sunday. Sundays are the days that I go visit Amelia for our weekly meeting, that Amelia and I talk about our week and our successes and how we're going to live for the following week, and just talk about life, right? Get some time to visit with her and collect my thoughts and just spend time with her. As I'd been listening to the first like half an hour of this book on the drive over, and as I pulled up, he was just starting to talk about when he was diagnosed with discovering his cancer. And I knew, like, I just could feel it. Like, I was like, this is going to be the emotional ride that I knew it was going to be. And I was like, man, I just can't do it. So as I got back into the car and I was leaving Amelia's gravesite, I was like, not today, So I turned on a different book and I was like, I'll come back to this thing. So, the next morning I woke up, and normally I just turn through these books, right? And I read or listen to an audiobook or something like that every single morning. And next morning I woke up and I just couldn't do it, turned it off immediately. And I was like, that's it. I can't do this book. I downloaded like 5 other books really fast just to take my mind off it. And, one by one, I turned through probably another 4 or 5 books and kept looking at this one that was like, about, a tenth of the way finished, on my Audible library. And I was like, I got to do this some point in time. Right. So it was interesting. After I finished this book, it was probably like 3 weeks later. And I finally got out the courage to listen to it again and got through about a third of the book. And I was spent. I was like, this is tough, man. Like, this is just so hard. It was like, about an hour is all I could do. A couple weeks later after that, I woke up on a weekend and I was like, I'm finishing this damn thing. That's it. I mean, we're just doing this and we're getting it done this weekend. And I dove headfirst into it. So ironically, I ended up finishing the book on March 14th of 2022. I was running on it was a cold day out. So I was down in the basement at my house and, running on the treadmill with Amelia. And she was listening to the story, and I was hearing Paul talk about his newborn daughter, Katie, and her final few months of cancer as he was in his final few months of cancer. And, it just got to me, man. I was just crying my eyes out as I was on the treadmill. And then his wife, Lucy, he actually didn't finish writing his own story. His wife, Lucy, wrote the final 40 minutes of the book on the Audible version of it. So I'm guessing probably the last chapter or so of the book. And because, Paul could no longer write. So she picked it up and finished it for him. And, I just was crying my eyes out, man. It was just really tough to listen to. The weird thing was I finished it on 3/14. And what do you know? I write about my whatever book I just finished the next morning. And that was Amelia's second birthday, was 3/15. I did not mean to do that. Like I said, listen to the omens. I didn't time it that way. I wasn't trying to, this wasn't on purpose by any means, but that was when I was sitting at my keyboard with Amelia. We were doing our living for 2 stuff every single day. And I was typing out this reflection on that particular day. I know Amelia was trying to tell me something. The universe was trying to tell me something. I was trying to figure it out. Got to thinking about this whole entire book. And what I couldn't get out of my head was Paul was a doctor, right? Whenever he was going through his diagnosis and his treatment, he would, every once in a while, it's just second nature, but he's been trained to think this way, and his brain would jump back into doctor mode, and he would start to think in statistics and probabilities and asking his doctor about the diagnosis and what's realistic, what's not, what's a feasible time, how much time does he have left on this earth, and et cetera, et cetera. And his oncologist, her name was Emma, she would stop him and she was like, look, Paul, you're not the doctor. I'm the doctor. What I want you to do is don't worry about any of this stuff. I just want you to focus on your values. Focus on what's important to you today and don't worry about anything else, you know? And it was just that reminder of what this whole freaking journey is all about. It's focus on your values. When you got your last couple of days, it doesn't matter about the work that you're doing. It doesn't matter about, you know, like probabilities or statistics or the outcomes. It's just focus on what matters every single day. And it's the reminder that I try to tell myself every single day. And that is what living for two is. It's trying to live the values that Amelia showed me how to live a life of purpose, and trying to do it and live my own individual values and to do it with her. And imagine my life when I'm performing those activities, I'm doing it with her. And it was just a great reminder. It was a great reminder, and it's a great reminder talking about it right now. And it's a great reminder when I wrote this, and it's a great reminder that I'll go back to for the rest of my life, kind of thing. But you know, that's all we have, right? Time is not guaranteed to anybody. Amelia showed me what it's like to live that kind of a life, and I'm going to do everything I can to honor my promise that I made to her. So when I was running on that treadmill that morning, I was running with Amelia in my mind, right? And when we were writing about this reflection, I was doing it with Amelia. And when we were listening to the story together, we were, you know, listening to it together. When we were crying about it, we were crying about it together, you know? So, you know, I finished this reflection off with just like saying, just like Paul with his daughter, is still with his daughter, Katie. I truly believe that. And he's still with his wife, Lucy, and all that they do. Amelia will always be with me. And as long as I continue to focus on living my values that she taught me, I'll always be able to spend time with her. So it was a happy second birthday present from her, but like always, because she's just that important. So that was the lesson for the day. How can you focus on your values today? The question at the end of it. So I'll pause there. Love to get your thoughts. This was definitely an emotional book, and it's hard to talk about.
It is definitely hard, but I think this is the most important lesson that we all need to learn and be reminded of, because like Paul in his quest, right? He was questing to be this, you know, genius neurosurgeon,
Right.
And he spent his last 10 years beyond medical school,
Grinding
10
away.
years doing his thing. And then suddenly the universe said, hey, you have very short time to live, right? And even when he think about a doctor, his doctor told him not to be a doctor.
Right.
His doctor say, focus on what's important. Well, duh. It's like you and me and everyone else here, like no one knows how long we have. Life could leave me tonight or tomorrow. Life could leave you tomorrow. And if you go to sleep tonight, when you wake up tomorrow, if you wake up tomorrow, right? The best time to focus on your value, the best time to read this book, the best time to remind you of what's important is 20 years ago or whenever you were born, right? Second best time is right now, Meaning, I mean, you look at Paul. He has, I would say, one of the most difficult and challenging career, and he's pursuing it. But the moment that he was told that he has lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer, then he's not doing any of that. He's doing what is important to him, which is writing, be a father, be a good husband to his wife, be an awesome father to his daughter, right?
Right.
That's what's important. But who does that? Who focuses on our values in our society today? You look at the percentage of the people who does that. Right. I mean, you tell me, am I wrong? Everybody's pursuing something. I want to be a billionaire in you know, in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, right? But that's the thing is that what you want? If that's what you want, great.
Right.
I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying Paul has another career, but the moment that he was told that you don't have that long to live, he said, oh shit, I have no more time. He is probably struggling to write, to live his core values, to write because he loves to write. So because he has cancer, so it's probably much more difficult for him to write, but he still does it. Right. Versus, hey, you know, it was
he couldn't be a doctor
anymore. He had lung cancer, but he stopped doing his 10 years training. He just stopped just because it's not important to him. It wasn't his calling. Right. And so the thing is, if you were to leave life today, if you go to sleep today and don't wake up tomorrow, do you have any regrets?
Regrets.
right?
No regrets.
Right. So
Yeah.
if you were to leave life tonight, do you have a regret? To me, think about it. I mean, you have to say, well, what are things I will regret? The thing you regret is what you haven't done. Don't you agree? Because think
No.
about what we said yesterday.
Or what you
regret
didn't
because
do.
you didn't do something you wanted to do with Amelia.
Right.
You wanted to do more kangaroo session with Amelia, but you didn't. That's why you regret it.
Right.
Right. And so to me, the thing that you did not do but wanted to do is what you regret. So if you don't live your core values now and you happen to leave that tomorrow, then you will have a bunch of regrets.
Yep. You don't want to leave this life with regrets.
Leave this life for 50, 60 years doing whatever, people tell us to do, but none of the thing that we did is for ourselves until the last freaking moment.
Right. I mean, it's like Tuesdays with Maury.
Right.
This is the same thing that he said.
He was like, with Paul. It's like you're doing all these things, but it's not what you wanted. It's just like what you thought you wanted, what society thought you should be doing, but not what you wanted. So when life told you you have no more time to live, you say, oh shit, I need to throw all whatever this way. He has the most illustrious career as a neurosurgeon at Stanford, nonetheless. Stanford, okay? It's one of the best, medical school, okay? And so he has one of the best illustrious career. He could have been like the Doctor Strange doctor in Doctor Strange movie, right?
I mean, you can't get
any higher than that.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. And basically, when he got diagnosed, that all I just threw it in the trash.
Right.
Right. Because it isn't important to me, even though you look at this is the monumental achievement.
Right.
And the moment you got that call, it doesn't matter. That's why it is super important for people to understand living your core values as early as you can. Get there as early as you can. The best time to live your core values is 20 years ago. And the second best time is today, like right now. Figure out if you were to live life today, what or if any regrets. And that will give you a focus on what you truly value. If you don't, then it doesn't matter what you can be Bill Gates, you can be Jeff Bezos, you can be Elon Musk, and you still would have a lot of regrets just because that's not what you wanted to do. Because Paul wants to be a writer. He's a freaking neurosurgeon, a brain doctor at a prestigious university in the United States.
That's the best medical
the
place.
Best in the whole world. And I'm talking about like not just United States, because United States is just better in terms of medical than most other country. The top country is one of the best. And even then he said, well, I want to be a writer. I need to finish my research so I can pass on this legacy.
He tried to do that and then he stopped. Like he kept
it wasn't fitting for him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's such a powerful lesson. I hate that you have to learn it, in the last couple months of your life, but it's such a powerful lesson.
But that's the thing is if you would have known today that we are telling you your core values is everything. If you don't do your value, you will regret it.
I don't necessarily regret it. Like
yesterday you told me you have regrets.
Sure.
Because you should take more pictures. You should have more kangaroo session with Amelia. You told me that.
Mm-hmm.
It's because you didn't know.
Right.
You didn't know.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And now, what would happen if you had known? You would not be able to live with yourself. The regrets is going to be 10x.
It's a really good point. No, that's why every morning when I wake up, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not some superhero. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm tired sometimes and I don't want to go work out. I don't want to write. I don't want to do this other stuff. And I go and I look at my Evernote, at the top of my journal every single day. It's the poem that I wrote to my daughter, like it's hard to get out of bed. What would Amelia do? It's hard to eat. What would Amelia do? It's hard to write right now. Like, what would Amelia do? And it reminds me of, she just did it, right? She didn't have any choice. Like she was thrown into the fire from the moment she was born and she figured it out, right? Like, I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And I know that it's important, like the first things.
The thing is that we put to understand that what you value isn't what people will praise you for.
No, nobody cares what I value. The only person that cares is me and Amelia.
But the thing is the value, just like, for example, we talking about the Mexican fisherman, right? Or whatever fisherman you want to call it. Well, the thing is, he has a boat. He has a nice little house by the village, by the beach. He has a boat. He go out and fish for a few hours. They come back with a few fish, one to keep for himself, for the family, and the rest he just sells to the market and trade it for other stuff, right?
Right.
That's to him is his value. But then a MBA grad came to him and said, look, you could have a massive fortune. You get more boats, you get bigger boats, you build an empire, right? People have your names over it.
Yeah.
It sounds really great. But that's the thing is you chasing some sort of quote unquote value that you deem as what people think is important. Having an empire, having a flagship, having a business, and then what? Then you retire, you go to a fishing village and just fish whenever you want and play whenever you want. I said, well, that's what I'm already doing. Why am I chasing this massive approval from society to become this empire owner or builder
just to go do what I want to go do.
validations of what my values means to me?
Right.
In the end, it doesn't mean anything to me.
It means
to build
beyond
the things
less.
that to validate myself to other people.
It's beyond meaningless to anybody.
It is meaningless because you think about it, if you're on a deathbed, you say, I wish I have one more ship. I wish I have one more stocks, one more client, right?
This guy probably just wanted one more day catching one fish to go take back to his family or something like that.
You think about Paul, right?
Dinner,
I'm not saying that everybody is the same way, but you think about Paul, and everybody can relate. As a human species, we have the ability to sympathize and to empathize, right? And so we knew that Paul has a great career ahead of him. That is the ultimate status validations.
Right.
And that is a prime example of these validations of society. Doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Right.
It is only the thing that you want to do. But that's what he wanted. That's what gives him peace. That's what gives him meaningful work. And even in his late stage painful experience, he still writes until he couldn't write anymore.
Right.
I mean, you think about it. Who does that? It's only because it aligns with
the cares
for you to do. But it's not about, he when he have no more time, I need to go and be a rocket scientist or whatever. No one does that. So when you have all your faculties, you are blessed and fortunate far more than a lot of other people. So why aren't you using it to set yourself on the path where your values align versus chasing something that is for you to justify to society that you are worthy of something? In the end, that does not matter.
And what Paul did matter, because we're talking about it. I know his family now.
But it's not the work that you
know
thought.
His life. Right. Yeah.
Right?
No,
it's not what you knew Paul through his writing, through his meaningful work. Right. His meaningful work is his writing. It isn't his medical knowledge. It is his writing. He's impacting you, and now he's impacting me because of his meaningful work, not because of his, 26, 30 years worth of schooling. The meaningful work in his last spiff of life is what makes impact to you and to me, and from me and from you to the podcast to other people.
Agreed. I mean, honestly, that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book for Amelia, because I wanted everyone to know her life, because they didn't get a chance to know her life. She couldn't write the story for herself because she was an infant and she had a story to tell, but I felt I had to tell her story because I wanted other people to understand that she had meaning and purpose in the life that she lived and every single thing that she did. And sharing your story with the world is really important. And I'm incredibly grateful for Paul and his family for taking the time to do this when he didn't have to. I mean, he
didn't have to. And then talking about, he just threw the whole neurosurgeon career in the gutter.
Right.
He didn't have to do anything.
I mean, he could have worked until the day that he died.
10 times more difficult for him to do it than anything, right? But he still does it. He still writes it. He still say, well, I know that my story will help somebody prepare for the journey that I'm completely blindsided by this. And so he's actually said, it's important to me for me to share my journey, because the thing is, he's dying. He don't give a shit about whether this book sells and make money or anything.
I mean, I'm sure that was not on his mind. All that was on his
No,
mind
he's
was
not doing this for money. It's like
right.
he probably make a boatload of money as a neurosurgeon, and he don't
Right.
need to write a book. He writes a book because he wanted to write a book to make an impact, and he did
Right.
that, and that's his meaningful work. And
It
at
is.
least to Paul, he has a little time and opportunity to live those core values that he has. Some people
And
just don't. Some people just die
he did a
suddenly.
great job, and he did it.
And it's sad that they don't get to even recognize that they're on the wrong path and try to correct them.
You remind me of this just happened today. It's funny that we're having this conversation. You remember how I told you yesterday we just did that mass interview crazy, right?
Yes.
So we had narrowed everything down and extended all the offers to the people that we were for sure going to extend an offer to. We had 3 candidates. They were right on the, could have gone either way with the 3 of them. Since this is my team, I did one more interview with them all this morning. Just a couple of them I hadn't even met. They were interviewed by somebody else. So it was really helpful for me to get a chance to get some one-on-one time just to get to know them. One of these particular candidates was not in my field at all. He actually was a film major, or I don't even know what the major is, and he, a lot of these candidates were in their mid-20s, or something like that, like maybe second job out of school kind of thing. And this particular guy, he's, had produced 6 movies already in his career, like just things that he creatively wrote, produced, with his friends, and made movies, right? Like, and that was one of the things that he had shared with us. And he's working as a marketing, in like a marketing role today, and he wants to transition into a sales career potentially. As I was interviewing him, this conversation actually was very the front of my mind. I basically flat out asked him, I was like, look, why in the hell do you want to do this job? And he's like, well, I can't do the other stuff that I love to do because it just doesn't make enough money for me right now. And, I got to pay my bills, but I was like, but you don't love this. And he's like, no, I don't. But I mean, maybe I can. I'm like, how do you even know? He's like, I really don't know at this point in time whether or not I will, but I know I can do it. And I know that he would bring, for me, I'm on the inside. I'm like screaming on the inside. I'm like, oh my God, I so want this kid on my team because I like the amount of, I understand how hard it is to create art and bring it into this world, right? It is not easy. It is time consuming. It's somebody that can have consistency and stick to itiveness and can use their creativity, and he would be an amazing cultural asset. But at the same time,
But
I
if you
also
ask
know
a kid, if life were to leave you tomorrow, would you take this job?
no, that's basically what I did ask him.
If
And
you
I
have
was
6
like,
months to live, what would you do?
not this. I wanted to hire him so badly because in a weird way, this is my meaningful work now, is I want to find, this is the world that people have to live in. And I want to find a way to help this person express themselves and create meaningful work inside of other opportunities where they can still live their life, and to have that unique lens on it. And that's what Clubany really is all about, is finding, I'm doing it in the real world right now. Clubany is our universe where we get to create our own rules, but there's rules already been created in this world. And this is going to be a unique project for me to try to blend the two together, right? And I was thinking of him going, man, what an interesting experiment this would be, is to take somebody that has a lot of talent and skills that I know that if they apply it to the right direction, they could probably do some incredible stuff. But at the same time, then I had to think more practically about like, I can't do this to him, knowing how important this is of the conversation that you and I are talking about today, knowing that kid values what he values and that he does not value what this job was, the opportunity that was in front of him. And I just couldn't do it. Like he was one of the people that I turned down, and I didn't want to, but I knew that I could not do that to him. I just couldn't. Like, I mean, I know that this isn't what he wants in life. And we can't sit here and talk about these things and say that this is the life that we want to live and how we want to build Clubany around, and and praise Paul for understanding this and sharing these things and going that route, and Amelia and all the other stuff that we talk about and what you and I do every single day. And then in my right mind, take this kid's values from him and steal that time, because I know where this is going to lead. It's going to lead, maybe he'll have a little bit of success in this world and he'll make just enough money where he's like, I'm making good money now, right? And then 10 years will go by after that, and then he has a family now, and he's like, well, I can't leave this is what I've been doing for 10 years, and now I got a kid, now I got a home and a mortgage, so I got to make sure that I can be able to support all that. And then he's going to look up and he's going to be 45, and
you're digging a hole. The
Exactly.
more you dig, the harder to get out.
It's impossible to get out. Well, not impossible, because an atomic bomb can blow it all up, right?
But it requires that massive of a scale for you to get out, and you don't want that. Like you say, you would not wish that your atomic bomb on your worst enemy.
No, of course not. No.
It is so tragic
Right.
that you
I mean,
wouldn't want that on any human being. You don't want, you say, well, right now your hole is knee deep. You
Right.
can step out. But once you go above your head and further down, well, it's so much harder to get out.
100%.
And regardless how much money he makes, he can be Jeff Bezos.
He'll never get that time back.
He just ruined my life.
Yeah, for sure. And I couldn't do it. All I could think is like, man, if we had the money already in Clubany to go do this stuff, like what a perfect candidate this would be. Like the guy just needs somebody to support him while he goes and creates and does what he loves. He already knows what he loves to do. And that's amazing. Like that he found that young of an age, you know, like he knows what his meaningful work is and he understands what that looks like. And he wants to go create and to put in that work. Like if we could only just give that kid some stability in a community and let him just go create, like, I mean, I guarantee you, I don't know when, but at some point in time, there would be plenty of rewards for him to reap and for us to reap as well. But at the same time, we would keep him on a path where he gets to do what he cares about and to focus on his values and to live his unique purpose in this world, right? Like, and
Yeah,
like,
but that's the thing is, in the real world, there's going to be more of these kind of candidates. There's a lot more.
I was him. I am him. Like every interview that I ever did when I was his age, you know, it was like, can I do the job? Fuck yeah, I can do your job. Like, do I want to do your job? Probably not.
Really.
And it comes across in my, like what I want to do was what I always wanted to do. And I've always been trying to figure that out. Like, you know, but at the same time, I was just like him where I was like,
and you're trying to
well,
climb out of that hole.
Right. I mean, now I'm figuring out ways to mold it all together while we work on something that could really be transformational for a lot of people that you and I are passionate about and creating a whole nother universe and building our own rules, right? But still, at the same time, I know where this is going. Like I can see it. I mean, I could just see this kid as a 45-year-old going, oh man, I used to be such a creative person.
I'm
like,
a great marketer.
Right. Yeah. Like,
I hate this.
God,
I would rather spend earn just minimum wage and still go into the movie career because
right.
I mean, think about it, there's certain job that you want. Like you say, well, if I don't need the money, I could probably work for free because I just want to work in that field because that makes me happy.
Right.
And a lot of people do. It's just like this society is pressuring you to need to have the need to produce and to bring home the bacon or the cheddar or whatever you want to call it. And so a lot of times we chose the wrong path. Right. Many times we chose the wrong path. There are people who have chose the wrong path and corrected themselves into the right path, but no one has ever been on the right path ever since in terms of not veered to the wrong.
We got to make mistakes and
the world, the society, people in society, members of society, we're always doing things we don't want to do. And this has become a miserable existence for us. This is why work is, i.e., depression.
Right. Okay? Work means work, you know, like when we
work
talk
means
about
depression.
Right. Yeah. It means, work. Like, you know, when we say work, we mean work. You know, I got to go to work. It's the incredibly already negative connotation. Oh, God. I can't go out and let my people go surfing because I got to work. Oh,
another 30 minutes to deal with my rant.
no, thank you. But yeah, no, I mean, it's like, you know, I don't know Paul, obviously, and I don't know beyond this book and what I observed from it. But I know this guy was dedicated to his craft, and he, you know, even after.
And he's probably a very good neurosurgeon.
Oh, he was. Yeah,
this isn't what he wanted in the end. So that's what I'm trying to elucidate here. If it doesn't align with what you want, your want is your values. Focus on what you want, what you think is important to you, not to anyone else.
Right.
Regardless of whether how prestige somebody or society puts it. It does not matter what other people think in the end. It matters now because you think it matters, because you were told it matters.
Right.
But it does not matter to you when you are on your deathbed and you say, I have the next hour to live, right? You don't give a 2 cents about whatever it is that people think you are or not think you are or whatever. You don't give, right? That's the thing is when you're on your deathbed, the only thing you can think about is there are things I haven't done that I wish I did.
Right. I don't want to do that.
The only thing that's on your mind. It's not like, oh, you know, I think, you know, people approve of the work that I've done, or this guy is happy that I done this, or people are cheering for me. And no one cares about that. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter when your life ends. It doesn't matter what people think. You don't even, their image does not even cross your mind. The only people that's in your mind is the people that's important to you, your friends, your family, right? And the people who are close to you and the people who are there for you.
Right.
You don't care who's, if you're the president of some sort of international organization, right? But it's all business. On your deathbed, you don't think about them. You think about your wife, right? You think about your kid. You think about the friends that you have. You think about the people that you respect, and they love you and you love them. That's the only things on your head. The other stuff don't even come into that circle. It completely blocked out. So that doesn't, it's not even, it's a moot point for anything you've done outside of that circle of personal influence.
Right.
And
So
this is your core value. That's what I'm saying. This is core values.
Right. Yes. Yeah, 100%. And so the trick to life, in my opinion, is to figure out a way to identify that stuff and then how to strategically go and try to live that life that you want to live now. So you don't end up, like it's cliche to say, but treat every day as like your last day, right?
We cannot do that. But at the same time, it will eliminate and reduce this. Because the thing is, I don't think about the past that much. I do think about the past, but I don't keep it in my head. You asked me about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I don't know. I have to try to remember to bring it up for you. Did you have a good weekend? I don't know, because it's 2 days ago. I don't know. It's not like I can't recall. Not like I don't remember. I will remember when I had to go and dig it up. I don't. It's not like I don't think about the future, but I do. I just don't think like, hey, 5 years from now, whatever. I think about today. So I spend more time today. So I would say 10% past, like 60% in the present and 30% in the future. This is a ratio, this is the breakdown I have today. In the early days, right, I would do 80% in the future, right? 20% in the past, nothing in the present.
Right.
That's a good point. Tell me if you have similar experience, because
for sure,
80% in the future.
Right.
And then so either 80% in the future or 70% or 50% or whatever, it's still the 50 in the past, 50 in the future, the zero. People say live in the moment. More and more people are not even carving a single percentage out of the live in the moment today. When I'm driving the car, right? I'm driving the car from home to work to home. I'm thinking about something else. I can't tell you if a red car passes me. I can't tell you if there's something I don't remember. My mind was somewhere else. And this is what I call you're not living in the moment. And people keep saying, stop and smell the roses, right? What's that? It came from the people who die and say, look, whatever you think about, it's useless because it
taking a nice walk in nature, and enjoying everything around you. But I had to go run to this next meeting.
With the mindset that you have, you're able to carve more time in the present that will reduces the regrets. I can't tell you that you will eliminate all regrets. I can't tell you don't think about the past. I can't tell you that you will not think about the future. This is who you are. You will be
satisfied with the present.
But having the mindset, you will be able to reduce and allocate what you think is necessary. It's not going to be completely say, oh, nothing in the past, nothing in the future. That's not possible. But it's possible to reallocate the portion you want.
Yep.
Because you think about it, if I think about something in 2 years from now, right? How much should I think about it? Let's say I want 2 years from now. The only thing I do for 2 years from now is, okay, if I need to invest in stock, well, I just dump into the S&P 500. I'm done with it. That's how much time I spend in the future. I'm not going to spend in like all of my 24 hours and carve that 80% and think about everything, every single details and plan out for the future, what I should do, what I should not do. Or think about the past, I did this in the past, blah, blah, right? Your 24 hours, you have to split up into different time you spent. And you are spent majority of time either in the past or in the future. Because I just told you, I'm driving home from work, I'm driving to work. My mind isn't in the present. My mind is in the future. Or what am I going to do with the meeting? Or if there's going to be this and that, blah, blah. Or there's a thing I did in the past that I want to do it again. That you plan all these things, but it never come to fruition. It's just because there's so many variables that
I think
whatever you did, so you just miss the moment, whatever moment you have there, right? You don't really know. You are not living in the present. And so to me, having a mindset to focus on your value brings you back to the present. Okay, what I can control today. To me, isn't it optimal that you should live more and spend more of your time thinking in the zone that you can control versus the past that you can never control, because it's past, nothing you can control. In the future, you have maybe 1 to 2% chance that you have some influence on that future.
I think you're beyond spot on with this. I mean, that is what focus on your values is. Focus on today, just focus on the present, focus on what you're doing, and focus on making sure that you're expressing yourself to the world.
Because one of the things that we can do, we can think is like, okay, if I think for today, right? What can I do today? Bird by bird, right?
Right.
Because if you have the mindset of, oh, there's tomorrow, I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait until the weekend. I'll wait till whatever to do the
For
book.
sure.
I'll wait until when I'm 65 to write the book. I'll wait until when I retire to do the golfing or the racquetball, whatever. That's the mistake. And that's why the mindset of future doesn't work, because you live in a future that never comes true. It never comes to reality. But if I live in the present, okay, if I do this today, then I have an impact for tomorrow. That you can control. Let's say, I reduce my cost today, or I sleep better. I want to go sleep early today. That's going to impact tomorrow. That's I can control. If I say I'm going to exercise today, that's going to control the future, right? Because what you focus on is today, but then there is a future benefit to them. So you can, but if you say there is a future, you won't do them today. You won't exercise today. You won't go sleep early today because you say, I can do that tomorrow. I can do that whenever I get this, I want to get that. I will get around to it. Have you heard of that expression? When I get around to it?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like the new hot trend is giving people sabbatical time, right? So when they go on sabbatical, then they're like, oh, I got time
tomorrow.
To do it.
Right. I'll do it tomorrow. My wife hates that, by the way. But for me, it's my tomorrow is actually tomorrow. It's not tomorrow. And that's the thing is your mindset changes your behavior.
Yeah. I mean, it's everything, actually. It's a really funny final thought, because I know we're up on time here a little bit. Yeah. My final thought was, just coming off the backs of doing so many different interviews yesterday and hearing from people, a lot of people, they do talk about all the time, like, what's my 3-year plan? What's my 1-year plan? Where do I see myself in 10 years? And I don't want to hear that anymore. I mean, like Paul, like Amelia, like you, me, whatever, like, I mean, anything can change tomorrow. I was out on Saturday. I was just randomly doing a routine thing. My wife took Luca to an open house for one of her friends. And while she was gone, I was cutting the grass. And then I texted her. I was like, hey, what do you want to eat for dinner tonight? And she was like, oh, you want to get some pizza? And I was like, sure. So I ordered some pizza and drove 10 minutes down the street to go get this awesome pizza that we like. And I was hungry on the way back. So I had a slice in my hand. I'm driving down a one-way road back toward my house. So there's 2 lanes. There's a person in the right lane that was about, maybe 10 yards ahead of me, and I'm in the left lane on a one-way road. And then there's side streets on this whole entire one-way road, just like normal city streets, I guess, just 2-way roads. This car that's in the right lane, just out of nowhere, no turn signal, no nothing, just jerks the wheel as fast as you can think of, and turns into this side street out of nowhere, completely out of nowhere. And
because I was like, he's thinking about something else.
Probably. He clearly didn't look, he went across multiple lanes of a one-way traffic, and I'm talking like he didn't even hit his brakes. I mean, no turn signal, no brakes. Like, it was just jerk the wheel. So I'm coming this way, and he just I almost just destroyed his car. And I'm holding a piece of pizza, and like a slam on my brakes, and my heart starts pounding. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened, right? The pizza went flying into the floor of my car. I was like, oh my God, no, not the one I was holding, like the whole piece of pizza, like the whole thing like flew out and went onto the floor of my car. And I'm not even joking. After that moment was over, I mean, this was like such a good reminder of like, I could have died. Like right then, I was just eating a piece of pizza, driving home on a Saturday night, like in no reason at all. Should that car have done what it did, boom, could have died, I mean, and it's like, you just never know. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason as to what is going to happen. I'm not saying live your life fearful of that, but at the same time, like, don't live
be prepared to live. Be prepared to live your life tomorrow and have little regret. So that thing that you want to do, don't delay until tomorrow. The first thing is, you never know when you're going to live life. You never know when you're gonna die.
You can do
This-
something
this
stupid.
kid or whoever drove that vehicle, he is trying to live in the future, and then suddenly he saw, oh, I'm supposed to turn here, so he turns real quick. That creates this unprecedented, random type
Totally
of
random.
accident, right? Because he lives in the future. If he had stayed in the present, that wouldn't be a problem. Okay.
And turn on the next street. Like, I mean, it's
But
not a
because
big-
he lives in the future, and suddenly he's down to earth, and suddenly he see that's where I need to go, and he turned. Most accident actually happens that way. A lot of people drive and their mind was somewhere else.
right. Oh yeah. I believe it.
Right?
I mean, yeah.
I did that. I'm not proud of it and I'm ashamed of it, but I did that. And I could have done just like what that kid did. But that's
Right.
the thing is people do that all the time. And that's my point. My point is we live in a future that never comes to reality. So why even try to live too far into the future? Why think about the future when you can have the present? The present is the only thing you have that's real.
Right. Yeah.
The
I mean,
past you can't
100%.
change. The future never comes. Because for
agree.
you could have died. No future. And whatever plan you have the future doesn't come.
Yes.
Like I'm talking about, it's like winning a lottery. It becomes like if you say, "Hey, I'm planning 1 year or whatever, I'll do this and do that." But the thing is, living in the future will have zero impact on your future. Only living in the present will have impact on the future. Because I'm telling you that if you want to be healthy, you can't wait until tomorrow or next month or next year to do the exercise. You do the exercise today, so you have the future. You can't say, I live in the future, so in the future I'll do it. So you impact the future of the future. A really, really important topic because people do that all the time. They delay the things that is important to them in that quadrant, not urgent, but important. Further away, I'm going to eat right. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to love my wife. I'm going to spend time with my kids. They delay that until when I retire, when next week, next day, whatever. That's the biggest mistakes
Agreed.
that you can ever make because tomorrow never came.
And the longer you wait to do the stuff you love, the more you forget what you even loved in the first place, which is even sadder, like, like it sucks. There's nothing good about not doing the stuff that you care about now. So I think that's a good spot to end on. Great discussion, great book. If anybody listening in wants to check it out, it is not an easy read. I don't know that I could ever read it again, to be honest with you, but I'm glad I did.
I want to learn the lesson. The lesson is important. I mean, because I think even having if you don't understand why we are so adamant about focusing on your values, read this book. Having a little bit of emotion will be more than enough to pay for the benefit you will get out of it.
Yeah, it's really rare that you get to read a book about, like, a Tuesday is a rare book as well, and like this book is a rare book because it's usually not somebody you get a chance to hear from the author when they're in the author's voice and what's going through their head. It's usually somebody else that was around them, like in my perspective, in my situation, like I told Amelia's story, or in option B, one of the books we talked about before, Sheryl Sandberg told her husband's story and her story after that, right? Or Thinking by Your Magical Thinking, by Joan Didion, that was about, her husband but it's always being told from another's perspective of the situation. A lot of times, this is one of those weird, rare occurrences where, you're hearing in real time somebody going through something that I can't imagine, right? And it's a special book, and I definitely encourage anybody to check it out.
Yeah.
But so we can leave it there. A question, that y'all can, focus in on would be, how can you better focus on your values today? So just something to always think about, always have it top of mind. It's a great reminder for us. And I know what I'm doing tomorrow. So, and right now, actually, because this is what this is all about while we're doing what we're doing anyway. So, so I appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Good night.